This used to be a multi-storey building, now flattened. The site of the Israeli strike is a scene of utter devastation. The rescue workers still haven't found all the missing people, among them children.
This is a civilian neighborhood. There are a lot of people living in the building that were hit. It's a 9-story building, 18 apartments. It's full of civilians.
There were glimpses of basements. The Israeli military say they had intelligence that top Hezbollah commanders were meeting somewhere below ground here. Above, though, we saw homes and shops, their stock of women's clothes still hanging.
It's inconceivable that any airstrike in this area would not have impacted heavily a large number of civilians. The area is surrounded by residential blocks, so obviously civilians were going to be impacted by this.
The rescue workers are still looking for survivors with no expectation of finding any. The Israeli authorities boasted this attack almost completely dismantled Hezbollah's military chain of command. Lebanese cabinet ministers have called it a war crime.
The bombing, the attack was indiscriminate in the term that so many civilians, children, women have been killed in this attack.
How do you view it? Because you called it a war crime.
It is war crime by all standards. I mean, if you measure it, no matter how you measure it, how you look at it, it is a war crime.
This is the third Israeli attack in Lebanon inside a week and has left the population fearful and anxious, with politicians urgently trying to garner international pressure against their neighbor.
The targeting of a military person does not justify killing 30 civilians. In the way it was done, it's more than collateral damage. It was deliberate on killing everybody in that building.
There's been no let-up by the Israelis on their northern border, though, marking one of the most intense bombardments of southern Lebanon in nearly a year. The Lebanese state news agency reported Israeli jets carried out more than 100 airstrikes in a single hour, whilst Hezbollah mounted a volley of rocket and drone attacks into northern Israel, around 100, one of their most intense attacks since they entered the war in support of Gaza. Israel is now fighting on two fronts, and Gaza suffered another very bloody day. Another school sheltering displaced people was hit by Israeli jets. The bulk of the dead appeared to be women and children, with the Palestinian Civil Defense reporting more than a dozen children had been killed, as well as a 3-month-old baby. The IDF called it a precise strike on a Hamas command and control center in Gaza City, without providing any evidence. Gaza health officials said the victims were orphans and widows and described it as an horrific massacre. The death and destruction in Gaza are on top of the Israeli bombing in Beirut, and this after days of booby-trapped devices exploding in Lebanese markets, shops and funerals. It's infuriated Hezbollah, whose leader has vowed to take revenge for all of this.
Will Hezbollah respond, do you think?
Inshallah, Hezbollah will respond soon.
Are we heading to a big all-out war?
Should be punished soon.
Are we heading to an all-out war, a regional war?
I don't know. This is not our goal. This is not our goal. Israel should cease fire in Gaza. Israel should stop killing civilian people in Gaza.
The UN's warning the situation is perilously close to tipping into a wider war, which risks dwarfing even the devastation and suffering witnessed so far. Alex Crawford, Sky News, Beirut.